Hi everybody, Diana here. Welcome to Sew in Common. It is a cold, snowy Thursday evening. Nobody's at home tonight. Everybody's out doing their thing. And I was looking through my book of all the projects and stuff I have coming this year and the things that I am prepping for this Sunday's video. And one of them in here that I wanted to talk about, I thought, well, why don't you just go do a quick little video for everybody and get that out of the way since, it's peace and quiet and it really is it's been gently snowing all day, but it's not really sticking because it's like right at that freezing mark. So like 32 degrees, 33, and then it'll go down to 31. It's been really pretty, but it's just made everything kind of quiet. And the husband has to be out tonight. He's building a new set for a theater group. So I thought I would do this video for you all. So you know that here at Sew in Common, we're all about piecing and quilting our quilts in our embroidery hoop, right? And so I hope you've been checking also out our short videos. I just had one about my favorite hoop. You want to check that one out, see what my favorite hoop is. And then I wanted to talk about doing the seaming of your blocks, because a lot of times you'll make a smaller block and it'll all be created all at once in the hoop. Cool, no problem. But sometimes if we're making jumbo blocks, and jumbo blocks are so cool and they're very trendy right now, and I love them because you can get quilts done really quick with jumbo blocks. So you have to make the component pieces, then you have to stitch them together. And nobody has a 15 by 15 inch frame or an 18 by 18 inch frame or anything like that, right? So how do we do that? Well, we do it with our sewing machine. And I'll be really honest with you. I piece my blocks together, my component pieces for almost all of my blocks on my sewing machine because it's super simple. I know that a lot of you have been concerned about that pesky 1/4 inch seam allowance. When I started quilting when I was a little girl with my grandmother, sitting right next to her in a church basement with all of her lady friends, everything was by hand because it was like, well, almost 60 years ago. Can you imagine that? Yeah, I'm old, but oh well. You know what? You're only as old as you feel, and I don't feel old, so that's good. But the thing that we had to learn first, that my grandma taught me first, was to do that 1/4 inch seam by hand. So that took a lot of practice. Doing it with the sewing machine can be easier because we have lots of tools that help us. We have markers, we have special feet, all that kind of thing. But there's still a little concern about doing it that way because you hear this idea of the scant 1/4 inch, and that's to help get bulk out and things like that. And it's difficult to know because every machine can be a little bit different. What is my 1/4 inch? What kind of tools do I need to do to find my 1/4 inch? Is it a 1/4 inch? What if I'm off a little bit too big? What if I'm off a little too small? And I know that that really is a concern for a lot of people that want to quilt, especially if you're a garment stitcher, because we know as garment stitchers too that we're all used to 5/8 of an inch, right, as our seam, pretty much. Sometimes 3/8 maybe, but mostly 5/8. And so trying to get that 1/4 inch, even on our sewing machine, can be a little nerve-wracking. But you don't have to worry about that, even when you're sewing your in the hoop blocks together on your sewing machine to do your big quilt, right? And I know you're saying, well, how can that be? But trust me, you don't need any special feet. You don't need a 1/4 inch foot. In fact, I highly recommend you don't use a 1/4 inch foot. Just use your regular sewing foot. That's all. And I'm going to show you that. Let's go ahead and go under my camera. Let me share with you, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here is a big 15 by 15 inch block, all pieced in the hoop. And then I sewed the component pieces together on my sewing machine. So I have a diamond in a square, or square on point in a square block. I have half square triangle blocks. I have modified half square triangle blocks. In Sew in Common, as the weeks go by in 2023, you're going to be making and learning all of these blocks with me. Please watch Sunday's video this coming Sunday, which is like today's the 5th, 6th, 7th, I think Sunday's the 8th of January, because I'm going to go over the whole program for 2023, exactly what we're doing, so that you know when we're going to be doing what part of what blocks and quilts and projects and things like that. But this is kind of a little extra that I wanted to go over with you now, in case you're still a little bit concerned about this idea of seaming your in the piece blocks together. So this one's 15 by 15, all done in the hoop, except I sewed the components together on my embroidery machine. Let me flip it over for you to see. So here on the back, you see, now typically when I do a quilt in a more traditional method, I'm the person that always presses to the dark side, right? If you know what that means. And I never press my seams open. But I find with my in the hoop projects, it actually works a little bit better to do them open. And I'm fine with that because I adjust my stitch length when I sew things together. We'll talk about that some more as well. But you can see back here, all of this has been stitched together on my sewing machine. And here on the front, you can notice everything, I have perfect seam matches everywhere I go, even though I sewed it together on my sewing machine. And let me show you how easy that is to do. Let's set our block aside and let's bring in just the most basic block of all in quilting, the half square triangle. This block is going to become your best friend, because with this block, you can create whole quilts with nothing more than half square triangles and make them really cool and interesting. And again, watch the video on Sunday, because I'll just give you a little bit of a sneak peek idea that for the month of January, our block of the month and our design of the month is going to be made all in half square triangles. So just stay tuned for that. So here's our half square triangle. When we piece in the hoop, we always have kind of our final stitch out around. Everything inside these stitches is our finished block size. So it's really easy to know that. And then when we trim, we use a good ruler. Now, this is not the ruler I used, obviously, but a good ruler that has quarter, half, 3/4, and full inch markings on them. And then we just trim it up to a 1/4 inch all the way around. I should have brought my better ruler over my bigger one, but we trim it all up with a 1/4 inch seam, or a 1/4 inch around. Now let's turn this one over, because you notice on the back, you've got that stitching all the way around the back too. So guess what? This stitching, here, let's show it on the lighter color side. This stitching is your 1/4 inch seam allowance. So with every block you stitch or that you piece on your embroidery machine, you have a seam allowance marker to follow. So when you put your blocks together, let's just say we're going to put these two together. Let's say this is one block and this is one block, and we're putting them together. I come in here and I can stitch right down that seam to stitch them together, knowing that I'm going to have that perfect 1/4 inch, because this is the perfect 1/4 inch line for you. Now, let me show you something that I like to do. I like not to stitch right on the line, because sometimes when you do that, when you fold everything open, you can see that line. And if you can, that's not a problem. It's usually very, very faint. But to keep from seeing that line when you're stitching, what I like to do is I like to come in with, when I put it on my sewing machine, I like to get my needle, and using the function keys on my machine, I like to line up my needle right on the line, the stitched line, and then I like to tap it just one click to the inside, or technically to the left. So the inside, just one stitch to the inside. That way, when I stitch, I'm stitching and I'm hugging this line, but I'm not on top of it. I'm hugging it right down that side so that when I flip everything open, I don't see that stitch line any longer. And so when you're stitching your jumbo blocks like we have here, you don't have to worry about that 1/4 inch. You don't need a special foot. You don't need any kind of special needle or tools. You just take and move. Let's see if I can unfold this a little so that you can see. So you see there is my stitch line, and then right there is the line that I stitched on my sewing machine. And when I open it up, there it is. You can't see the line at all. And then I have my whole block put together, and it's super simple and easy to do. Now, this was a quick video on how to do this, but when we actually start working on our projects in July, I'll go over this in more detail regarding that particular block with you, but I wanted to do that quick little video for you tonight so that you could see just exactly how easy it is to stitch together these jumbo blocks on your sewing machine. Because I know I get questions from folks a lot, can I stitch my blocks together in the hoop? And you sure can do that. If they'll fit in your hoop. But as you're doing a full-size quilt that you've pieced on your embroidery machine, there's no way you can piece all of those together in your embroidery machine. There's not a hoop big enough, so we have to take it to the sewing machine for some of that. But I wanted you all to rest assured that you don't need to worry about that idea of the 1/4 inch so much when you're doing that, because that seaming line is right there for you. And as long as you line your needle right up on the line and then one click to the inside, you're going to get a perfect seam every time. No, was it a full 1/4 inch? Was it a scant 1/4 inch? It's just the perfect seam every time. So I hope that helps some of you out. Please comment below. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. We're building a great community here. And I love having you all along for the ride. And we've got so much new and great stuff coming, like a whole program now coming in this new year because of all of you, because you wanted to do quilting and piecing in the hoop. And that's what we're going to do this year. So please join the YouTube channel. Click the little bell to set your notifications. Also, if you go over to my website and subscribe, then you'll get updates and blog posts and stuff like that earlier, because all of those go out first before I post them here on YouTube. Also, check out our community board here on YouTube. I've been adding in a few posts there. I added one in about doing strip piecing in the hoop, so you can check that out. And I can't wait to see you all here, as you know what I'm going to say, as we sew life beautiful together. Until next time, everyone. Bye-bye. Have a good day. See you soon.